Yep.
So I'll call the East Lyme regular meeting to order. Today is the first meeting of the year, January 3rd, 2018. If you all please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all and welcome. It's nice to see members of the task force, the subcommittee that helped design the new park, which will be coming up on our agenda tonight. And I think we almost have a unanimous group here. They're all here. That's wonderful. So before I start with the agenda, I just got an emergency announcement that, of course, with the snow coming, if anyone, the three people that are watching this live tonight, we're not picking up trash tomorrow. The transfer station is closed. And there is a parking ban in effect, and there's no school. Those are the four things I wanted to get out. On the way here, there's a lot of cans, a lot of trash cans, the recycle and the trash at the edge of people's driveways. Please pull them back in. If you see your neighbors are out there, get them off the street. Our plows are going to be working pretty hard, and with the wind, there's whiteout situations where the plows can't even find the road sometimes. So getting the cans away from the edge of the driveways will be very helpful. So we'll proceed with our agenda.
How about having
yes, ma'am.
How about having that put on channel 22?
It is.
All the information's out there everywhere.
It is on 22.
Facebook and 22, and I hope our website too. But yeah, we've been putting that everywhere all day today. We had a planning meeting at 10 this morning, and we are prepared. Agenda items, consent calendar items. Anything additional?
Nope.
Okay. Delegations. Anyone like to speak to the commission? Approval of minutes. Regular meeting of December 20th, 2017.
Move to approve the Board of Selectmen regular meeting minutes of December 20th, 2018 as submitted.
Second?
Motion and second. Any further comment? Corrections? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Terrific. The consent calendar then.
Move to approve the consent calendar for the meeting of December 20th, 2017 in the amount of $958.13.
Second.
Motion second. Comment? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Terrific. First on our agenda tonight is the approval of the 2017 Homeland Security Grant. Now, this is really not an actual sum of money. This grant is it's really an authorization to participate in the Homeland Security Group, the Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security, of which we're, of course, a member, and we share resources. So this group gets state and federal money for Homeland Security and extra money because we're a nuclear area. And we share resources. We buy things, and then during emergencies, whether it's those floodlights or it's wood chippers or grapple trucks, whatever it is, that group, the Department of Emergency Management, Council 4, buys this stuff, and we participate and also are custodians of some of this equipment. We also get grants through this program. So we are asking for approval, permission for the first selectman to get into this agreement one more time. And, of course, any grants, specific grants that come our way, will also go through the appropriation process for specific items in the future.
I'll put a motion out. Resolve that the town of East Lyme may enter into with and deliver to the State of Connecticut Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security any and all documents which it deems to be necessary or appropriate, and further resolve that Mark C. Nickerson, as first selectman of the town of East Lyme, is authorized and directed to execute and deliver any and all documents on behalf of the town of East Lyme, and to do and perform all acts and things which he or she deems to be necessary or appropriate to carry out the terms of such documents, including but not limited to executing and delivering all agreements and documents contemplated by such documents.
Second?
Any comments, questions?
We have been the beneficiary of this program on several occasions.
Yearly. We entered this we entered this yearly into this arrangement. Correct. This is an ongoing program.
The only question I have is,
Yes.
read through the agreement, there's no significant changes from past years?
No, this
Okay.
is standard, as you can see, boilerplate.
Boilerplate.
Every
Right.
town in the state, depending on their council, their region,
Yep.
we're Region 4, they get into this agreement
Thank you.
in order to participate. You're welcome. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Great. We'll move on to the approval of an appropriation in the amount of $500,000 for the 2018 steep grant for Cheney Park bathrooms. As you know, we entered an application for improvements to Cheney Park some years ago, and we've received approval of that application a couple of years later. In the meantime, we've been through this with this commission. The FEMA regulations changed. We couldn't build a structure anymore. We talked about the trailer last meeting or a couple meetings ago. This is the actual $500,000 steep grant, which is the improvement, first of all, to bringing the water and the sewer down to Cheney Park and hooking it up. And that's a pretty complicated ordeal, that alone. And then for the building of the structure where the trailers will actually fit, the trailer will actually fit into, so it will be a seamless transition for someone in a wheelchair or a pedestrian to go in and use the facilities. We also have money put aside for the dinghy docks, which have been approved as part of this application. This application goes back at least 5 years. The dinghy docks that have been approved by Harbor Management Group, I guess, who did all this work, and it's a dock for transient boaters that might come into our waters and anchor and then want to bring their dinghy over and then visit our downtown. It is also it's a launch for kayaks. Is that right? Right. So Bill Scheer has done an amazing amount of work. So thank you for all the work you've done on this, because it's been ongoing, and I appreciate that. So why don't you fill in the blanks a little bit?
All right. Maybe I'll take this over there so
I think you should. That's a tough angle from the camera. That's okay. Leave it right there, and
We'll do the best we
it's
can.
important that the selectmen see what you're doing here. In fact, why don't you point it right up at this camera, and Kevin can put it on the screens for anybody here looking, and then anybody at home, they'll know what we're talking about, and you can zoom right in on that.
Put it on the screen behind us, you mean?
Just zoom the camera right into that board.
All right, there are basically 3 items on this agenda item that are going to cover B, C, and D on the agenda here. So I might as well just go over them all once, and then we can address individual questions as each agenda item comes up. As you know, we've got a $500,000 grant to run water and sewer down to Cheney Park and install bathrooms. The water and sewer installation is very complicated. It starts at Atlantic River Transmissions and goes all the way down the state road, then down the access drive, into Cheney Park. Before we paved the parking lot, we actually ran pipes under the asphalt so that we didn't have to redig up the parking lot. And the bathroom. This is an overview of the whole Cheney Park. The bathroom is proposed to be right behind the Blackhawk building, just so that everybody can get a feel for this. Because when I show you the plan for the actual bathroom, you're not going to know where it is unless you get a good focus on this map here. So, there's a lot of history with regards to this bathroom down there. Originally, this used to be an A flood zone, which means the water level just comes up, floods, goes back down.
But why don't you get on microphone when you can?
Yep.
I know you need to point to the thing too, but
There's a long history here with regard to
Thank
this
you.
bathroom. When we originally proposed this bathroom, the flood zone in the area was an A zone, which means it floods, flood water goes up, then it goes down. So I had proposed a concrete bunker-style bathroom that could flood with all the utilities, water heaters, et cetera, in the ceiling, so that they would not get wet. So in other words, this would be a bathroom that could get wet. Subsequently, FEMA has changed the flood zone to a V14, which is a wave velocity zone. So basically, they anticipate waves, water rather than here, waves crashing over it up here. So with that change, we can no longer build the bathroom we had proposed. So the only solution we could come up with is for a portable bathroom. They make some beautiful portable bathrooms. I think we talked about this at the last meeting.
yes, we did.
So as part of this grant, they won't cover the bathroom, which we talked about last time, but they will cover the infrastructure to support the bathroom, which is the pipes, water and sewer pipes going down there. And as you can see, this yellow here is the trailer we talked about at the last meeting. This here is a handicap ramp. This right here is coming under to the boardwalk. We're going to hatch out this area for pedestrians. They can go up this handicap ramp to this platform. The trailer will back down next to the platform. The hitch comes off. Each corner gets a jack. We put a skirt along the front. This will look like, and it'll be anodized aluminum exterior. This will look like a beautiful building that's like, it's not like it's portable. On the side here will also be concrete. There will be a water fountain and a shower with 2 heads and 2 foot washers, just like McCook's and Hole in the Wall. So the goal is to have a facility. There'll be three toilets in the women's room, a urinal, and 2 toilets in the men's room. So this is very similar to McCook's and Hole in the Wall. And it will follow the same schedule as McCook's and Hole in the Wall for hours of operation and season of operation. Because we did switch, we originally had planned for the water and sewer to be year-round, but to save money, a lot of money, we switched to seasonal because the bathroom was seasonal anyway. So I think that covers the bathroom down there now. There's 2 other parts to this project. If you're familiar with the existing kayak canoe launch, it's a floating dock on the north side of the finger down at Cheney Park. The proposal is to install 101 linear feet of 8-foot wide floating dock and 5 wooden piles to allow for transient boats to come in, smaller boats and possibly dinghies. Because by ordinance, Parks and Rec is in charge of this park, they would be setting the hours, the size of boats, the limitations and use of this dock. The goal is to bring people into town so they can walk downtown and use our businesses. We want to become a marine economic. We just want to bring people in. Yeah, we want to be a marine tourist destination. And also, a Girl Scout a few years ago was working on a project because it is a kayak launch, but it is very difficult for regular people and handicapped people to launch a kayak or a canoe here. They make an ADA accessible, easy kayak canoe launch, and you can see it's on the left-hand side of the print right there. It makes it very easy for a regular person and a handicapped person to launch and retrieve a kayak. It's actually a cradle. You put the kayak in it, you can get in and out of it. It's got handrails, grab bars, the whole 9 yards. It makes it very easy for everybody to use the kayak launch. So, part 3. I've been doing this so long, I'm very used to, I know exactly what's on these plans. I don't even need to look at them anymore. The proposed park for the 224 Main Street, where the mobile station used to be, will be a raised semicircular terrace, as you can see on this plan, made out of copthorn bricks, which is a very, very good brick. Let me get some pictures here.
seen it.
I've seen them.
That picture is an installation in Branford that is 8 years old. So that's what they look like when they're 8 years old. The second one I just passed out is what they look like when they go in initially. They actually have a sheen to them, which wears off. They still look excellent after the sheen wears off. That's why I wanted to show you the other picture. Around it, we have granite, curved granite to hold up this terrace. In the front, we have a Welcome to Nyack. Actually, I think there's a detail on there too. A Welcome to Nyack granite sign. It's 9 foot long by 2.5 foot high, and that has a stone wall on either side, and it is capped with bluestone with downlighting on the sign itself. On the top, the plan is to sell granite bricks engraved with people's names to actually fund part of the project. This is what I hope they look like.
No, you're fine. Just
No, it's okay. Bring it over
Yeah.
if you like. Pass it around if you want.
I hope they look like this or better. We're still working out the details on that. We're still working out the details on a lot of things here. As you can see, there's a meandering sidewalk that works its way up to the platform. There will be backless wrought iron benches that the East Lyme Public Trust will be providing. There'll be trees, grass, and there will be downlighting on the site that will be basically a granite post with an LED light shining down so that you can see where you're walking. No actual street lights. I know that's a lot of information. I'm trying to be brief.
The rotary clock will be relocated there, and you'll have a small utility building that will house the irrigation system, the electrical system, and water facility, a water spigot, so that Main Street can get out there and water their flowers in a more efficient manner. They do such a good job with that. I'd like to point out, Bill, that these plans, although they look similar to something that we sketched up a couple of years ago now, time flies, these final plans, including the style of stone and how it will look, dimensions, et cetera, every last detail was put together with this crew, this subcommittee made up of Rotary members and East Lyme Public Trust and Parks and Rec members and Niantic Main Street and a couple others, and it also included a landscape architect. And so I'll point out Carol Morelli's here, and Sue Kumro, and Terry Smith, Tom, what's your name, Tom?
Beebe.
Beebe. You're going to be called Tom Bonelli for a second. That's weird, huh? And of course, Dave Putnam is here, the Parks and Rec director. These folks met over a period of about 6 months, at least 6 times, where we came and we kind of debated and what it would look like. Do we put parking in? Do we not? And why wouldn't we? What the lighting will look like. In meeting with the landscape architect at least a couple times, 2 or 3 times, he was very involved with this. We talked about sustainability. We talked about not building this to last 20 years. And we talked about levels of vandalism and what could occur. So we built this to last a minimum of 50 years. When you build these kind of things, you build it to last. So although there's a lot of detail, and there's a stone wall, and there's Connecticut bluestone top to this, and there'll be the bricks on the top, and there's lighting fixtures and all that. This is being built to last, especially where it is exposed to the elements. Not only the public, but the elements. Probably the public's more dangerous.
I'd actually go more 100+ years.
Yeah, that's a good point. But when building anything in municipalities, we always talk 50 years plus. It has to last. So that's where we're at there. But I thank you. It's the right time to do it now. Thank you for the service and the time you put in. This was this through all that hard work came the right plan. And again, thank you all from different walks of life in our town coming together to come up with this. And that's the way it should have been done and was done. We also, this comes up again or two more times on the agendas tonight, but we might as well, we have everything here. Are there any other details we should point out? The granite steps, the downlighting on the sign. There'll be 6 benches in total, 4 on this platform. And the reason why there's a platform is if we built everything at ground level, this is a good question. If you put a bench at ground level, you'd be staring into the bank of the trains. The trains are up on a bed. The tracks are up on a bed. So the purpose was to build it's a 2 or 3 steps. By the 3rd step, you're up on the platform. So it's just a couple steps up that will put this in a level line with the tracks so that when you sit on a bench, you're looking out into the water.
Correct.
And that's kind of important. We also think that it will be a focus of gathering. It will be a public gathering spot. It doesn't have a parking lot. It's not a destination in town. It's not Brybrook and it's not McCook's, but it will be a place where people could gather, whether it's Main Street events, and we have all our events downtown already. It might be new events that occur down there. It'll be a public space, and I think the brick terrace, as you put it, will lend itself to a place where people will gather.
This was also designed so that when you're on Main Street or coming down Pennsylvania Avenue, the terrace itself does not obscure the view at all. The view starts 6 inches right over the terrace, so that when you put plants in, you can put very small plants and they still will not obscure the view. That was one of the goals. We also are going for an exception in front of zoning to limit the amount of trees. We obviously want trees, but we don't want so many trees that we obscure the view of Nyack Bay.
Right. We're also changing the fence, the Amtrak fence. We're going to be putting a black vinyl fence like we have on the boardwalk. Black vinyl is actually the softest way of putting a fence up and seeing through it. It actually blends into the landscape. We'll be putting the fence on our property, a couple feet onto our property, and then asking Amtrak to take theirs down. And we'll be working out those details with Amtrak. We obviously don't want 2 fences there, and they've done that in other places for us, so we don't anticipate any issues there.
Correct.
There's a little bit of cleanup left on the site to be done. We estimate about $15,000 of cleanup. We have $50,000 left in the brownfield grant, so we'll have plenty of money to finish the cleanup. There are signs posted on the site right now telling people that that's what's going on. It's a DEEP requirement,
Correct.
and EPA requirement, so that's happening. We anticipate, if all goes well tonight and other appropriation meetings that are required in zoning and planning and zoning board of appeals, that we'd like to have this open by Memorial Day. We've spent the last summer with a hole in the ground, and we spent the last 4 summers before that with a boarded up mobile station, obscuring the view. And it's time, and this is going to be a beautiful addition that I'll remind people that the townspeople came out in 2010, and 73% voted in favor of spending a significant amount of money to purchase this property and to rehabilitate it into a town park. And this is the cornerstone of our Main Street. It's always been a part of the plan to take control of the property, and the best use by commission, by this committee, we've talked about it in public for quite a while, is to turn it into a park. So the $500,000 steep grant is for all 3 of those projects. We think there'll be some money left over after we build the bathrooms, and then after we build the dinghy docks, there will be some money that we can swing over to this project. There are some primary financial streams, revenue streams for this project that we'll get into when we start talking about C and D on your agenda. But this will be, if we need any more money to build this park, we have a budget, and we'd like to not spend the town money. This is grant money. So whenever possible, we always go in that direction. Do you want to put a motion on the table, and then we can ask questions?
Okay. Move to approve the appropriation in the amount of $500,000 2018 steep grant for Cheney Park. Move to approve a special appropriation of $500,000 steep grant for Cheney Park in Fund 57, capital project that includes, 1, the installation of seasonal water and sewer facilities from the Niantic River transmissions, 2, the construction of infrastructure necessary to serve a portable restroom trailer, 3, if funding permits, the construction and installation of some or all of a transient dock, including an easy kayak canoe launch in Cheney Park, and 4, a portion of the construction cost for a public park at 224 Main Street, and forward to the Board of Finance for approval, and this requires a town meeting.
Second?
Motion second. Any questions for Bill?
Want to start off?
Sure. Start with the park. We talked about. Are there, you answered my question about the fencing. Were there any parking? I know parking was talked about. Is it all gone, or is there like a couple spots at the end? It goes all the way to the end?
The park goes all the way to the end of our property. There is approximately 25 feet at the end that's not our property. That's kind of no man's land. So
Whose property is that?
it's half DOT, half Amtrak. The line runs right down the middle of it. So we don't have jurisdiction over it.
That's where you see some cars parked right now?
That's where, well, it's actually, they're parking, most of them are parking on our property. There's probably room for about 5 or 6 at the end that's not our property.
Okay. With Cheney Park, we're putting pipes down there and stuff like that. Where is the pump going? Is there a grinder pump down there or something?
There's going to be a grinder pump right adjacent to the trailer, just on the east side of it. I can show you on the map if you'd like.
No, that's good. How do you deal with it when we have a storm surge? Is it going to be shut down? Is it going to withstand the salt water?
They're actually designed for that. It actually comes with a collar that you pour concrete around to weight it down. For those of you that don't know, if you have a cavity underground and it floods, they tend to pop out of the ground. So you have to weight them down sufficiently so that they can't come out of the ground. And these are meant to be underwater.
Okay.
So it was a very common question when we asked the dealer.
Yep. Okay. And seasonal. Describe seasonal. Is that
Probably
Dave, right?
first. So season would be probably April 1st to November 25th. This year we went a little bit later with our opening our restaurants, but we would winterize right around the 1st of December.
so? This will coincide with all the other.
Yes, we would do the
bathrooms
same exact routine
Same
that we
schedule.
would with everything.
And is it going to be stored down there in the winter? Or
No,
is it
we
pulled up?
look to probably store it inside, maybe up at 12 Roxbury we've talked about. So
Okay.
yeah. Pretty good investment. We want to put it inside for the winter.
Okay.
Good point.
Yep. All right.
Mrs. Hardy?
Yes, I'd like to see where that's located on the
The-
diagram. That Mr. Salerno asked
The pump?
about. The pump, yes.
Is it in the ground or is it in a utility building?
That's what I'm
The
asking.
pump. It's in the ground. Yeah.
And so there's no above-ground elevation for it? It's
No,
level with
it's
the ground?
completely underground. We'll have a control panel off to the side somewhere. So once it's installed, you won't even know it's there.
That's what I was inquiring, though, is where the controls would be located.
Because of the flood zone, it's a V14 down there. It's elevation 5, so that means the flood zone is 9 feet above ground level down there. So that's 8, 1 foot higher than my finger right there. What we have to do, CLMP requires that our meter, our